Imagine you're on stage. You've worked everything to get to the point of where you are. Or you're trying to get to that point through an audition. But your heart is racing. Your hands are shaking. Your voice is cracking more than an ass, and you're about to vomit through every hole. You might know this feeling. A lot of us do. It's stage fright. It's performance anxiety. There's nothing wrong with you. You are an individual that gives a damn on what you're doing. This is completely normal. Now, according to the Harvard Mental Center, stimuli such as an audition or singing in public or speaking in public or an important job interview, your body responds to this kind of stimulus the same as a bear attack. It's the fight or flight response, and your body cannot tell the difference. I know for me, I've had a lot of dealings with anxiety in, not so much for me in performing, but auditions is where I got hit. It got so bad that if I even talked about a future audition that my hands would start to sweat, and I wasn't even at the audition yet. So I had to get over this, especially because college auditions were this year. So through my own personal experiences, through some research, and through a lot of great advice from some great musicians in the field, today we're going to be talking about how to get over this anxiety. Tip number 1, stay hydrated, but don't overdo it. Now, H2O is naturally good for the body. Roughly about 80 to 85% of our whole body composition is made of water. And also, not to mention, water is really good for the voice. Singers, public speakers, actors constantly are hydrating. We drink a whole ton of water. My advice to you is do not overdo it. Your body, because it's in a state of anxiety, is already very tense. So imagine all that nervous energy, you're holding your bladder because you really need to piss. I learned this the hard way. Tip number 2, eat something. Now, I know food might be the last thing on your mind when you're facing your fears, but think about it. Your empty stomach is not good for your body. Remember, we're trying to calm the body, relax the body, keep the body chill at an even pace so it doesn't go into that fight or flight mode. I know personally for me, I am not hungry at all, but you know what I do? I slam down 2 pieces of whole wheat toast, and that's enough to satiate my appetite. I learned this the hard way because in the middle of an audition, my stomach really awkward. Tip number 3, breathe. If you don't breathe, you can't even speak. So if you can't speak, you can do much less of any kind of singing. So this is what I do, and I learned this from having really bad anxiety, so I went to a therapist. What he taught me was, inhale slowly to 10. Hold that for 10 more seconds. And then breathe out at 10. And the only thing you're doing is thinking about that deep breath and those numbers. This will make your muscles lose tension and slow down your system. Tip number 4, stay positive. Pump yourself up. Self-visualization. Imagine yourself kicking ass at your audition. Now, musicians, actors, performers, or anyone in general, we tend to be our own worst critics. Instead of that, be your own biggest fan. Talk to yourself in the mirror. Pump yourself up. Be your biggest life coach. And don't be negative. Now, there's something called the self-fulfilling prophecy. Basically, it's saying if you're going to screw up, you know you're going to screw up, guess what? You are going to screw up because you already set your mind that you're going to screw up. So stay positive. Think of the good. Tip number 5. Be yourself. There are other people who are wanting that same role, that same solo, or that same job position. Your job is to make yourself stand out amongst the crowd. What makes you special? What makes you unique? You need to have the audience remember you. Opera singer Joyce DiDonato says this, I quote, "We do not need a bad imitation of another artist that has come before us. The blonde one, the next Callis, the skinny one, the new Pavarotti, or another Barry Hunk." And then she goes, well, okay, we can always use more Barry Hunks. Preach, queen. But she's saying that we need originals desperately. And I don't know about you, but that quote can make anyone feel good. Speaking of feeling good, tip number 6, have an orgasm. A real orgasm. And no, I did not stammer. Personally, for me, sexy time is not on the agenda before an audition or performance. I'm thinking about topping the performance, the audition. I'm not thinking about topping anyone. But it's been proven that from an orgasm, chemicals are released in the brain such as serotonin and endorphins that reduces stress and makes you feel good. And if you're not into the sexual emotion, you can do what I like to do, which is exercise. I like to take a lap around, have my headphones in, and actually I like to listen to the song that I'm going to be doing, and that's how I release my endorphins. And besides, exercise is really good for you. But you know who doesn't need to exercise? Superman. Now, according to Harvard, the University of Texas, and the University of Oregon, something called the Superman pose is where you stand up straight, look up, and put your hands on your hips, just like Superman. It shows that 2 minutes of holding that position reduces anxiety, improves your ability to deal with stress, and increase confidence. So you go be that performance superhero. Tip number 8, avoid coffee. Now, if you're like me in college, coffee is your lifeblood. I know I've done many of all-nighters right before midterms and right before finals, and I'm pumping my veins full of coffee. But I never do it before an audition. First of all, coffee dehydrates you, so not good for the voice. Also, in addition, coffee, as we know, has a lot of caffeine, which is a stimulant and can raise your anxiety. On top of that, it is a diuretic, so it'll make you go pee a lot. Besides, you want to look really attractive, so it's not great for your teeth. Let's go into the next tip on getting pretty. Now, one of my pre-performing audition rituals is to doll up. Pick on a great outfit, do my hair very nice. Find your own version of what beautiful is to you. Not to mention the routine of getting ready can take your mind off the anxiety, which goes into number 10. Own it. This goes a little bit back into being yourself. Now, a while ago, choir god Eric Whitaker did an AMA on Reddit. This is around the same time I was preparing for my college auditions, and I did shoot him a question, and oh my god, he answered back. And he said, just be yourself. Don't worry about impressing them. That is what shines through. Now, I don't think St. Whitaker of Choirland was meaning to be a divo or diva, but be confident, because guys, if you don't believe in yourself, no one else is going to believe in you. Which goes into my last tip. Go back to the music. Now, this is a given that you have to know your language, you have to know the diction of the language, and of course, your pitch and your rhythm and your rest. I'm not talking about the basics. During my flurry of anxiety with college auditions, I had a practice room meltdown. There is true life behind the practice room rituals video. So I decided, you know what, let me give this a try. I decided to email opera singer Joyce DiDonato because her videos are very inspiring. She's the opera guru of positivity and all around being the queen of the Mezzo-sexuals. Surprisingly enough, she emailed me back only a day later. Joyce DiDonato's advice to me was to go deeply within the music and the text, and far away from anything personal within oneself. My job was to sing, not to analyze or judge myself. For performers, our egos are so fragile, and this was hard to comprehend, and then it clicked. The character that I was doing was Carabino, a nervous, horny little teenage boy. And this character was really nervous around being the Countess. He was this ball of anxiety and this ball of energy, and he was really excited. And then I realized, I'm feeling that way. I need to become that character. So I used my nervous energy and became Carabino from Voi che sapete. And that made my acting more authentic. Did the nerves go away? Never. Something that Eric Whitaker said, I'm paraphrasing, is we never get over our nerves. We just get very comfortable being terrified. I survived my audition, and 17 days later, at around 8 a.m., I opened up my mailbox and I got my acceptance letter. I never cried so many happy tears in my life. I felt like Sally Field after she got her Oscar. You like me, you really like me. I decided, you know what? Joyce DiDonato's advice was invaluable to me. So I emailed her and told her the good news. This is what she sent back. She told me to remember the power I felt in that moment and how to take it back. And remember, that audition, that solo performance that you have to do, that job interview, that speech, don't let it do you. Thanks for watching today's video. If you found this at all entertaining, informative, inspiring, or any positive feels, like, share, and subscribe. Have a harmonious day.